Hello, everyone. My name is Mirna, and on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, we want to welcome you to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people around the world gather to see the lectures and interviews organized by Mindalia TV. Today with us, we have Mariko Hirakawa. Mariko is an international bestseller author. She is the founder of Visionary Yoga. She helps business leaders achieve peak performance in their life and business by aligning them with their higher purpose, creating mental and physical balance through yoga and Ayurveda, and by coaching them to think and act from the space of possibility rather than limited beliefs and past conditioning. Before starting, there is a couple of things that we want to remind you. If you want to help Mindalia TV, you can help us reach other people like you that can benefit from the content we share in our channel just by liking the channel, subscribing, liking this video, or leaving us a positive comment down below. Also, while we are live streaming, we have the active chat on the side of the screen. That is an excellent tool for you to interact. And at the end of the lecture, Mariko will be so kind and answer your questions. Just please remember the format, the word question in caps, the place where you're seeing us from, and the actual question you want answered. Without further ado, we're going to leave you right now with Mariko. Mariko, screen is yours.
Thank you so much, Mirna. It's such an honor to be here. And today I'm really excited because Visionary Yoga is really the combination, the synthesis of yoga, Ayurveda, and manifesting your vision. Because a long time I was teaching only yoga, and then I, became Ayurvedic practitioner, having lived in India for many years. And then I realized there was a missing piece, and I really realized that was the piece of purpose and the clarity of purpose that people had in their lives. So I felt this trinity, the trinity of yoga and Ayurveda, and channeling that physical well-being and this unlimited space of consciousness that yoga puts you in touch with, channeling that into manifesting your heart's deepest desire, manifesting your soul's highest expression. So that's what Visionary Yoga is about. And I'm excited to present this to you. So can we bring up the slides, Mirna?
Yes, we can.
And I really want to, flow through this pretty quickly. But if you have a question in the middle, I really want to keep this interactive and not just a monologue from you.
Absolutely. I am happy to do that for you.
And if there is an appropriate question in the middle, if that's relevant to what we're talking about, I'm happy to answer it right there on the spot as well. I believe in the flow. And if there's something that's, better to answer later, we'll answer it later, okay?
Absolutely. We will stay organic here, okay? I'm just getting your slides ready for us to enjoy it. And whoop, almost there.
We're waiting that, today was one of those days where I had a technological
well,
I was creating, I was just tweaking these slides, and then, just as I was like about to send it to you, like it just crashed on me, and I lost so many of the changes. So, so many of the things I think I would like to discuss in conversation if I don't have slides for it. And it's just, I take it as the universe's way of telling me, hey, just, it's go within, and
you got it.
Organic, right?
Exactly.
Because of technology plays games on us. So
exactly, and it is actually playing games on me right now. I'm just trying to be able to share the screen without losing you from here. And let me just, I will be. I just need a little bit of patience from the universe and our audience.
Well, while you're doing that, I could, I know the content of the first few slides, so, I could, if you like, I can, start the presentation.
Yes, of course.
Already going, okay? Because, it's this presentation is unique in that a lot of times we're just talking about wellness or, I'm just talking about yoga or just about Ayurveda. Today, I'd like to, my ambition is to really try to introduce Ayurveda deeply because I feel people know a lot about yoga. It's quite mainstream now. At least the physical practice of yoga has become very, very mainstream. But Ayurveda is still quite unknown. So this is for you actually if you struggle with, low energy level, weight issues, or mood swings, right? And if you tried like, any of the one size fits all type of fitness programs or diets, and you're ready for a deep and permanent transformation, not just through fad diet, but through time tested system. And our philosophy at Visionary Yoga is health is the foundation, and we channel all that energy and balance that you generate through yoga and Ayurveda to your highest. There we go. We got that
Okay,
slide.
I won't be able to open it completely
Oh,
without
goodness.
losing you, but we have it right here. Okay.
Okay. So we can go to the fourth slide down, Myrna. And yeah, this presentation is really for the conscious people. I know that your audience are who are already familiar with yoga, maybe still unfamiliar with Ayurveda, and I would love to be the one to open the door into the world of Ayurveda and what it can do for you, and also how to channel that energy and the mindsets around accelerating your journey to manifesting your dreams. So let's go to that fourth slide. Yes, if you're ready to stop procrastinating and truly make your big dreams a living reality, this is for you. And I really salute you, those of you who are going for it. Next, Myrna.
Okay. And this one, right? Oh. Okay. And one, two, three, four. So next one. Okay.
Yeah, so visionaries are people who, are able to envision that which is not yet manifest, and if you're hearing the call to live a life that's bigger than where you are now, this presentation is also for you. Next. And it's truly yoga. I believe one of the purposes of yoga is not just, fitness and flexibility, but it's also about really stepping into that larger version of yourself so that you can actualize your dreams. One of the greatest questions I've heard from great mentors is, who do you have to become? Who do you have to become in order to realize your dreams? And one of the secrets that I'll tell you right at the get-go is that, manifesting your dreams is important, but even more important is who you become in the process. So this is for you if you're really invested in your growth as a human being, your spiritual growth, your inner growth. Next, please. And yeah, so if you're here, I really want to honor you. I want to honor your time and really deliver the best value, because showing up, as Woody Allen said, showing up is 80% of success. And it's truly, we know so much, but it's sometimes it's that one extra push to bring what we know to the foreground. That a lot of these things, it's we need to be reminded that we know, right? So let's go next, Myrna. We can keep moving through these slides. Yeah, and so this presentation is really I try to merge the knowledge of yoga and knowledge of Ayurveda and gear it towards manifesting your highest vision. And at first, I'd like to talk about really the wellness piece, and then perhaps we'll do this without the slides, but we'll maybe in the Q&A section discuss about manifesting your dreams. So let's move ahead. And visionary yoga is really about channeling your health and energy of manifesting your dreams and living your purpose. And it's that base of the triangle is health. A lot of times we talk about, in the health and wellness space, we talk about health as if it's the end goal, and it is definitely a very, very important, but it is also a foundation. And this is why we need to have the foundation of the health very, very solid. And Ayurveda is such a time-tested system that will give you that solid foundation without having to, count calories or read the labels. We'll learn very organically to interact with your food and environment so that you can read the qualities of the food and environment. Let's continue. So this session, I want to present 3 paradigm shifts that you need to take your health and fitness to the next level. And I'd also love to share with you really actionable, 3 easy and super effective tips that are going to help you lose the weight and generate lots of energy, so that we have that, to manifest a dream is to step beyond your comfort zone. And so you're going to need a lot of mental strength, emotional strength, and physical strength. So those 3 tips of Ayurveda will be very handy. And let's go next, Myrna. And also, if you have, yes, I don't have the scope to go very detailed, but I would love to introduce to you the concept of Ayurvedic method of detoxification, because this is one of the great gifts of Ayurveda to the world. Is, we have an epidemic of chronic illnesses in this country and in the world. 7 out of 10 people, the death of 7 out of 10 people are due to chronic illnesses. And so Ayurveda's forte is with chronic illnesses. And so if you're dealing with any chronic issues, I highly recommend you, start to understand this very ancient and time-tested method of healing. And let's continue on to and then the next part. So that's part 1, right? That is the health piece, Ayurveda. And the part 2, I'd love to share with you the system for getting unstuck and accelerating your journey to manifesting your dreams. And this is the work I've been sharing with my clients and students in retreat settings. We go to beautiful parts of the world like Tuscany, Italy, or Costa Rica. And for 7 days, we immerse ourselves in this kind of amazing paradise. And we dive into this work of, just thinking beyond the limitations of what is here, what has been in the past, and really think like a visionary through the synergistic application of yoga and Ayurveda. So that's the part 2. Most of the slides are going to be dedicated to part 1, but I hope to be able to dive into this juicy part as well. So next slide, Myrna. And so really my promise to you is really to share with you the mindset as well as the immediately doable action steps. Now, Ayurveda and yoga do have a deeply philosophical aspect. So some of it is that higher level principle, but I'm a Capricorn, and I really believe in, practical, doable action steps. So I want to keep it very, very practical for you as well. And the next promise is, next slide, Myrna, is that really not selling anything here. I want to just offer you pure content, and I want to lead with complete integrity. And feel free to pop in your questions if you have them, if they pop up in the middle of the presentation here. And yes, go ahead, Myrna. Yeah. And if you want to stick around to the very end, I have a very special gift for you. Next slide, Myrna. And that is that I have a wonderful 15-minute. Myrna, can you advance the slide? Myrna, are you there? There we go. Yeah. So this is my 15-minute visionary yoga practice. It's a great way to start your morning. It has so much in this 15 minutes. It's a fluid practice designed to hone your it's really an inspirational practice to open your body to grace, open your body to the unlimited consciousness. And here's a guy I'm sure you know, and I love this quote because it's so true. When we are, as visionaries, we really have to, when we're looking at problems to solve, we have to remember that problems cannot be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. We have to elevate ourselves. And so, for this work of elevating your perspective, expanding your perspective, deepening your perspective, going deeper and higher, yoga is an amazing modality. I truly believe that yoga is not just a physical modality, it was given to us from sages to really unfold our full potential as human beings. And if you've ever read the book, The Autobiography of a Yogi, this is a wonderful book. If you are a yoga practitioner, it should be in your library. And in that book, Paramahansa Yogananda, the author, talks about his guru's guru who made this prediction. His name was Lahiri Mahashaya, and he predicted that 50 years after his passing, yoga would encircle the globe and that it would create a renaissance of yoga, and it would create this unification, this brotherhood and sisterhood of humankind, and it would awaken the consciousness to the oneness of consciousness. And so we definitely are seeing that renaissance, but I'm feeling that there's still a long way to go in terms of creating that, elevating that state of consciousness, and seeing yoga as this technology for evolving and unfolding the human consciousness. And that's really one of the really purposes of visionary yoga. This is a little aside, but let's continue, Myrna. And I just wanted to share with you that dimension of yoga, that yoga is far beyond the physical. So I got a question for you. So do you feel that, does it sound like you? Do you know or think you know how to get healthier and more fit, but you find yourself sabotaging your own efforts? Or you let things like work and social life take over and undermine your efforts to creating a truly vibrant wellness and fitness? I know I have let this happen to me, so I wanted to pose this question. And next slide, Myrna. And another question, other questions are also, have you suffered or are you currently suffering from digestion and metabolism that are not what they used to be? And do you also, if you are a cardio exercise person, do you tend to suffer from tight muscles and creaky joints? And do you know that you should be stretching more, but keep putting it off because it might be too painful? This is something I've heard so many times from people who say, oh, I'm not good at yoga because I'm so stiff, and so I'm not going to go to class because I'm not flexible. And I go, well, that's kind of like, if you're not flexible, if you never, let yourself open your body, how are you ever going to, overcome that stiffness? And it's truly important, not just for safety, first of all, but in opening your body. I always tell my students, in opening your body, what you really discover is the light that dwells inside. So this is the real gift of yoga. Often people come to my class with, this intention of just getting more flexible and, getting more agility. And then they find that when they actually do the yoga, they experience a whole new dimension of themselves, that they're able to go inside and they're able to tap into something beyond just their personality, just their ego, that limitation, that cage we live in inside all the time. We truly do need a vacation from the busyness, the constant busyness of the mind. And so this is the true gift of yoga, is a silent, still mind that allows you to tap into the unlimited consciousness. Let's go ahead, Myrna. Yeah, so, and we can actually keep going for, let's continue to go forward to the next cycle here, to the next slide. Yeah, so, we tend to get into this vicious cycle of we get stressed, and then stress leads to poor food choices, poor choices in general, and then that leads to, exacerbating the stress, the negative effects of stress, and on it goes. And so we want to put a stop to this vicious cycle. And so if you're suffering from this, or if you have suffered from that, it's really, especially, I'm talking to the business leaders and entrepreneurs out there, who deal with a lot of stress, responsibility related stress. It's really, next slide, Myrna, is really time to put our health and wellness first, because it's truly the foundation of your success. My number one advice, really, especially for business leaders, professionals, entrepreneurs, is really to look at self-care, deep self-care, and not just look at it as luxury, but look at it as part and strategy of running your business. Put some wellness and self-care time as part of the business strategy, because business is a marathon and it is not a sprint. And yet we tend to do, perform inside of it as if it's a short sprint, and we're doing running, and then we crash and burn because we just haven't taken time to care for the body. And so just 15 minutes out of your day, half an hour out of your day, to take care of your body, mind, and inner self is truly going to go a long way, to giving you that stamina, and to also getting out of that myopic vision, and thinking, bringing that visionary mind, seeing the long-term vision for your life and your business. So let's go to the next slide, Myrna. And so it's really time to get aligned. Yoga is about deep alignment. It's in visionary yoga, truly, this is the trinity of alignment we work with, is your physiology. And part of that physiology is understanding your Ayurvedic constitution, knowing yourself on that cellular physiological level, knowing your psychology, mastering your psychology, and aligning it with your soul's purpose. And again, being deeply in touch with your soul's purpose, which in yogic language we call dharma. And it's a beautiful word that means, really, in kind of colloquial language, doing the right thing. But we all have a unique gift that we're born with. And part of our journey of life is in discovering, what that unique gift is, and how we can channel that through our life. What is your legacy? What is your contribution to the world? And this is my life's work, is really in helping people to create that inner balance, that physical balance, and mental emotional balance, and channeling those aligned energies towards manifesting your heart's desires, manifesting your soul's mission on this planet. So I just want to take a very brief moment to introduce myself. Next slide. Myrna did a wonderful, generous introduction for me, but just so that you know where I come from, I think this is one thing that maybe Myrna didn't say, is that I come from a ballet dance background. For years, I was a professional ballet dancer. I also was a modern dancer in New York City. I also danced professionally abroad. And that led to my discovering yoga when I was injured, and when I was going through the dark night of the soul with my dance career, is when I discovered yoga. And that led to, well, I'll tell you my life story in a moment, but I have, led to my living in India for 10 years, and I won a fellowship grant to study yoga and Ayurveda at one of the top universities in India. So I'm one of the few people who went through the medical school system in India to receive a degree, which is called BAMS, Bachelor of Ayurvedic Medicine and Surgery. And it's a 5.5-year program. Oops, I lost the slides there, Myrna. Can I have the slides back if you're there? So and that so that is that was like 10 years living in India. And oops, lost the gate. And I also, during those 10 years, was really, really fortunate in being able to sit at the feet of masters. Masters like Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, who is now a world-renowned guru. He's also informally the guru to Prime Minister of India, as well as Karunamai Amma, who you may know, and many other great masters of yoga. It was a truly blessed time. And today, after having returned from that 10-year sojourn, I have built my company of Visionary Yoga, and I work with business leaders and entrepreneurs in using that yoga and Ayurveda to create peak performance, and also to help my private clients to manifest their vision and take those inspired, bold steps to manifesting their dreams. And I recently, next slide, Myrna. I recently wrote this book called The Yoga, next slide, Myrna. Yeah, is the yoga of personal development. And if you are interested in the inner dimension of yoga, this book has a lot of the kind of the inner game material on how to apply the inner principles of yoga into, if you're a business owner, this will be very, very practical too, because this was really specifically written for, applying that inner dimension of yoga for living in this 21st century, 2018, in this digital age of navigating this very challenging world of running a business, and getting super focused and tapping into that, what I call the most resourceful state. It's on Amazon right now, and I'm really happy and proud to say it's hit the international best-selling author list, and I would love it if you can pick it up. But oops, I lost the slide again. Myrna, the technology gods are really playing with us today. Able to get the slides back? Okay. Truly, it's with Google Hangouts, you don't really know. So
I'm right here.
There you
My
are.
apologies,
Yes,
Mariko.
yes.
Thank you. I appreciate your patience.
No problem.
We have questions.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to convey those questions.
Yes.
They want to know about the Ayurvedic medicine.
Yes.
Can you talk to us a little bit about it?
Absolutely. So, are we able to get the slide back? Because, I really do go quite deep into the Ayurveda. So Ayurveda is actually, it's composed of two words. Ayur literally means, it's a word that means life energy. It also means lifespan, and Veda means knowledge of. So truly, it's often translated as the knowledge of life, the science of life. It's a very broad meaning, but what I like to, dial it down a little bit is to say that because it means the lifespan. It's really the science of optimizing your physiology in this embodied state. And so, like yoga, Ayurveda talks about 5 elements, and this is why Ayurveda is often called the sister science to yoga. And if we're able to get the slides back, I have a little bit on this, but it's okay if we can't. The 5 elements of yoga and Ayurveda are space, air, fire, water, and earth. So from the subtlest to the most dense came the elements. And we can go down to, let's go down to that science and art of optimizing embodied state of consciousness. Yeah. And so in Ayurveda, we talk about, we distill the 5 elements into actually even more refined into 3 doshas. And doshas literally mean that which, It's actually literally means fault, because it is very difficult to keep doshas in balance. Let me see if I have this in the next slides. And so the premise of Ayurveda, we can go to the next slide, Marna, is that, Ayurveda teaches that know yourself deeply. And first, as I talked about, have this self knowledge, know your Ayurvedic constitution. It is, the knowledge of Prakriti. Your Ayurvedic constitution is known as Prakriti, which literally means your nature, which was determined at the time of your conception. And it is, Ayurveda is not human mind born. It's really passed down knowledge right from the highest, and actually the sages heard this knowledge and it was transmitted. So it's not born of human mind, and so it is really, we consider it as divine knowledge. That's why it is called a Veda, one of the divine knowledge. And next slide, Myrna. So yoga and Ayurveda go hand in hand because it's truly about knowing yourself to heal yourself. And it's truly that combination of deep self-understanding in order to evolve yourself. And I think that, if I want to answer this question a little bit more deeply, let me see if I have anything on this slide, but I do have a whole course on Ayurvedic medicine, but this question was a little bit broad. I mean, is there a specific aspect of the Ayurveda they wanted to learn? No, or just in general?
Well, mostly in general, but regarding the diet
Regarding the
and and about the different personalities
Yeah, yeah, sure.
that are supposed to be, consuming or eating certain type of foods.
Yes. So Ayurveda, let me see if I have this further down here, but so Ayurveda talks about the five elements, and these five elements are distilled into three doshas or bioenergies. And these doshas are in the order of density. The most unmanifest, the least dense is called Vata, Vata, and this is the combination of space and air. And Vata is the subtlest and therefore the most powerful. In Ayurveda, we consider that which is the subtlest is actually the most powerful, because if you think about it, it is the least bound, and Vata controls your nervous system, the central nervous system. And that is why it is the most powerful, because central nervous system governs so much of our physiology. And we living in our digital age, Vata is the most prone to being imbalanced. In every single client I see, no matter what their constitution, I always see that their Vata is elevated, aggravated, because we are living in this digital age. We are driving here and there, we're flying across time zones, we're on our cell phones and doing all this digital communication, which is extremely subtle. It is all this transmitting through, this electrical pathway, and this is very, very Vata aggravating. So Vata tends to create, each dosha has its signature qualities, and these qualities we call guna. And guna is a Sanskrit word for, this is how we recognize, it's like kind of the signature qualities we recognize a dosha by. So Vata has the qualities of dryness, coldness, lightness, mobility, roughness, and subtlety. So by these qualities, we can recognize, this is a Vata symptom. For example, if you've gotten right off the plane, you might have felt just right after you got off the plane a little ungrounded, a little spaced out, and maybe very dried out. Even if you drank a lot of water on the plane, because that plane ride is inherently very, very Vata aggravating. So, you will notice maybe dry skin. Sometimes when there's severe dryness, we get constipation. And so these are the signs of Vata aggravation. Right? The next dosha is Pitta. Pitta is the combination of fire and water. And Pitta is a very interesting dosha, because it's like the fire and water seems to be opposite elements combined, and the combination of water and fire. It's you can think of pitta as biological fire. Fire cannot exist in our human body by itself. It has to exist in a liquid medium. And so, in the human body, digestive enzymes are considered to be pitta. Hormones are considered to be pitta because they're catalytic and create this transformation inside the body. Because fire's function is transformation and transmutation, which means taking something which is denser and transmuting it into its kind of subtler essence. So that is the function of fire, and as pitta, because it is in the liquid medium, pitta dosha has a few extra qualities. So the signature qualities of pitta are things like it's slightly unctuous due to the water, and it tends to spread. There is heat, there is a sharpness, and there is sometimes a fleshy smell that comes due to the catabolic a bit, processes that pitta creates within the body. So when there is a chemical breakdown inside of the body, sometimes it creates this body odor. And so it's kind of funny, but people who are, of pitta constitutional types, they tend to, have a lot of body heat. And so, and if they have toxins in their system, you will smell it too. So it's interesting. But each person, is born with different constitutional dominance. So some people have more vata in their system. Some people are naturally born more pitta predominant. And if you're pitta predominant, you tend to have a very sharp mind due to that fiery quality. You tend to want to go deep and inquire deep into things. And so pitta people they make good leaders. They're very intelligent in nature. But if that pitta is very aggravated, they can come off as very arrogant and sometimes overbearing, domineering. That can be kind of the imbalanced expression of pitta. They can also become very irritable and temper. They can have that fiery temper due to the fire nature of pitta. So you want to keep your pitta cool. If you're a pitta person, you want to have cool foods and stay cool physically. Favor foods that are not so acidic. Favor foods that are more alkaline in nature. These are, the ways to keep the pitta dosha in balance. And lastly, I'll just go briefly with the last dosha is the most dense of all. So we went from vata, air and space, and pitta, which is fire and water, and now kapha. Kapha is water and earth. The word kapha literally means the flowering of water, and kapha is the most dense, and so its qualities, its signature qualities, are qualities like heaviness, slowness, denseness. There is also a softness and sometimes sliminess, and stability is also a quality of kapha. And so people who have kapha as a predominance, they tend to be very patient. They may speak slow, and they may be slower to catch on, but once they catch on, they have a very long-term memory. And so kapha people are the stabilizers in relationships many times. They are often compassionate, and they're loving people, and they have that patience and generosity. The downside of kapha people, if the kapha gets aggravated, they can be attached to things. They can be very possessive. If the kapha is an impure kapha, meaning there's toxin in that person's system and it's mixed with that kapha dosha, it can come off as attachment, or it can turn into depression and lethargy, laziness. These are the negative sides of kapha. Attachments, very difficult to break attachments. So each dosha has its strength and its negative sides. And I'm sorry, I didn't have the slides. I didn't go as systematically as I wanted to. But so Ayurveda is really the art and science of recognizing these qualities in yourself, in your physiology, in your metabolism, in your personality, and learning to balance them with their opposites. So Ayurveda uses the principle of opposites balances each other. And so if you are like a Vata person, and Vata people tend to be very quick, they're very quick-witted, they learn quickly, they move quickly, and they also tend to forget quickly, and they tend to get spaced out. And so for Vata people, what you need is to ground yourself. You need to ground yourself and eat nourishing foods. Vata people also tend to get cold and have poor circulation. So for Vata people, it's important for them to keep warm. They need to eat, they need to enhance their digestion with warm spices. Eat foods that are easier to digest. These are the ways that Vata people can protect, keep their Vata in balance, right? And Pitta people, they need to, again, keep their cool and eat, have more cooling foods, not cold foods, but cooling energetically foods, and make sure that they don't eat too many acidic foods, fried foods, spicy foods, which can aggravate. I know in Latin America cuisine, you love those spicy things, right? So we've got to watch the salsa and all that red pepper and chili peppers and all of that. And it's just learning to eat the cilantro, learning to take the dark green leafy vegetables, and liquids like coconut water. They're very helpful in cooling down the pitta. Also, meditation is amazing, tonic for all the doshas. But for pitta people, it helps them just cool their temper down and just be mindful before you speak. Right, count to 10 before you burst out in anger. And kapha people. For kapha people, they need to keep their energy moving, right? Because they have the opposite problem. They need to get motivated. They need to mobilize their energy. Kapha people tend to get congested and their energy tends to get stagnant. So they need to really focus on foods that are warm and light. They need to avoid too much dairy foods, too much heavy, too much heavy foods that are clogging in nature. So white flour pastries and usually the white stuff is not good for pitta people. The white sugar, the white flour, the dairy. It's better to really go for the more ethereal foods like the raw vegetables and cooked vegetables that are spiced. They need that spice to help their digestion because they have more sluggish digestion. So these are some of the ways that you can know yourself. And I had if you're curious about what your constitutional type is, I do have a nice questionnaire that you can download and kind of get an idea of what is your balance right now. If you go to the browser and type in balanceyourdosha.com, BALANCEYOURDOSHA.com, balanceyourdosha.com. It should take you to a page that allows you to download this questionnaire. And that way you can go through the questionnaire and you can tally up the number and you will see which is your most predominant dosha. And just knowing that will, you can start the journey of Ayurveda right there and beginning to adopt some of the dietary and lifestyle changes. And so when you opt in, you'll also get some videos that, educate you on even, modifying your yoga practice according to Ayurvedic principles. So I highly recommend, you go there and just download that gift because it will give you a lot of these tips. And it'll give you kind of a mini course on getting started with Ayurveda. So I hope that answered the question.
Yes, thank you so much, Mariko.
Sure.
Definitely very valuable information that you shared with us. And as we reach the end of the lecture section, we are going to start with the questions, with the Q&A.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
And before starting with the Q&A, we just want to remind our audience that Mindalia TV is a non-governmental, non-profit organization. Our only mission is to help raise the level of consciousness around the planet There is a couple of things that you can do if you want to help other people like you to have access to the content that we share in Mindalia TV, just by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, leaving us a positive comment down below. That is a way in which you help us just reach out to more and more people around the planet. Also, we still have the active chat as long as we are live streaming. So you are more than welcome to just leave us your questions there. Remember the format, the word question, the place where you're seeing us from, and the actual question that you want answered. And now we're just going to start with the questions. You're going to be hearing my voice. You're just not going to see me, but I'm going to be right here, okay?
Okay.
And we are starting with, when did Ayurveda started? How old is it dated?
Yes, this is actually a highly debated question, and the standard, all over the web, and most commonly it is said 5,000 years. I don't know who, really agreed on that number, but it is actually much older than 5,000 years because Ayurveda has its roots in the Vedas. The oldest Veda is called Rig Veda. There are actually four. Vedas are the really the seminal texts from which yoga comes and from which Ayurveda comes. And that's why yoga and Ayurveda are known as sister sciences. And so Ayurveda is often called the fifth Veda. It is that important. And there are seeds of Ayurveda in the Rig Veda, which is very, very ancient. And, it's been debated how old these are, but just think that, Ayurveda, Veda, when they were written down, was already 5,000 years old. But before that, there was an entire, many, many centuries and generations of master to disciple oral transmission, because this was an oral tradition. It was all memorized, incredible memory these people had, because they didn't have the cell phones, they didn't have all these distractions that we have, and they really meditated very deeply. They had so little static inside themselves that they could memorize. And also the sages had this incredible capacity to hear and just kind of download the Akashic records. And so it's truly incredible what they were able to channel from the ether, really what they heard. And so actually in Vedic classic texts, there are two classes of texts. One is called Shruti, which literally means that which was heard. And there's Smrutis, and that means that which was remembered. And now Shrutis are the higher, it's considered the higher level of classical texts in ancient India. And Smrutis are more like legends and myth, like Ramayana and Bhagavad Gita. These are considered as Smrutis. They are more like stories and legends. But Shrutis, these are the direct utterances, direct transmission, direct download that the sages heard in meditation. And so Ayurveda was not started by, it wasn't started by a startup company. It wasn't started by any human being. It was direct download into the minds of the sages from, you can say, from the ether, from the universe. So it is considered as divine knowledge, and it is truly timeless.
Wow, that's definitely impressive. Thank you for that answer. We have the next question. It says, what can I do to start a yoga practice if I am not flexible?
Right. Great question. Thank you for that. And, truly, first of all, let's drop the self-judgment, right? And yoga, true yoga, I always tell my students, is like being with yourself and fully first accepting where you are, and just being kind to your body, being kind to yourself. And, we often talk to our body in a negative way. And this is it's very important to shift this, because the body is our vehicle, our sacred vehicle on the journey of life. And so we need to start relating to this body with respect and with love. And I have a free gift if it's okay to offer this person. It's called the 5-day Visionary Yoga Challenge, and it's just a very beginner friendly practice that takes you through 5 days. They're video instructional videos, and they start out very easy and they build up slowly in a challenge. And the first day is opening your back, strengthening your back, a lot of forward bend and child poses and spinal twists. And then the second day is opening your shoulders. And then the third day is strengthening your core, which is related to self-esteem, confidence, right? And also the third chakra is for your willpower. And then the fourth day, I believe, is for hamstrings. And fifth day is for twists. So these 5 days it's a very well-rounded practice. And if you're feeling intimidated to go to a group studio, which I understand, it can feel intimidating to be in a group setting where everybody else seems to know what they're doing. So you can get yourself in shape through practicing at home with a video program like this. And if you want to access that course, it's my gift to you free at visionaryyogachallenge.com. visionaryyogachallenge.com. And it's actually part of my 30-day yoga challenge, which is a paid offering. But this 5-day course is completely free, and I hope you enjoy it. And I encourage you, just talk to your body in the language of love and be patient with your body. And one thing is to really breathe into the intensity. And in the beginning, the stretch is going to feel intense, but use the intensity to be fully present. That intensity is your object of meditation, and you use that in the sensation of stretch to actually move through the body and connect with your breath, to connect with the cellular intelligence of your cells. And in connecting with your body very deeply, you actually touch the energy of the universe. And this is the secret of yoga, right? When you open your body, you touch the light that dwells within it. And so if you can be patient with yourself, breathe, and be right where you are, right, without trying to, without criticizing yourself, without judging yourself. This is my highest, recommendation for anybody doing yoga, is never compare yourself to other people. Be right where you are, that is the highest yoga, and respect your body and breathe and do what you can. And nothing more is asked than your very best every single day. And if you do your best, just know that you've done, everything that you've been asked. So that's what I would say.
The next question that we have here is, what is the reason why yoga is so underestimated in society?
Yes, I I totally agree with that comment, and I feel that in this country, in the West, when yoga first came to the West, actually, it was in a very spiritual way. When yoga first came to the West, it was, the transcendentalists, people like Thoreau and Emerson. They embraced the Bhagavad Gita, and they were deeply spiritual people, right? And the next wave of yoga in the West was through great gurus like Vivekananda and Yogananda. They brought also the big yoga, I call it yoga with a capital Y, the universal yoga. And somehow, towards the 60s and 70s, we started to get very into the physical dimension of yoga. In the beginning, it was called Hatha yoga. It was distinguished as one of the branches of yoga, right? And as the Hatha yoga increased in popularity, people just started to drop the Hatha and just call the physical practice of asana yoga. And this is a great disservice, because while asanas are great, I love Hatha yoga. I have taught many, 27 years physical yoga. But I think we really need to make this distinction clearly. And it is to say that yoga with a, what we call yoga today is actually Hatha yoga, which is all the yoga that we do on the mat. Any physical yoga we do on the mat is just one small branch of at least 6 branches of yoga there are. And yoga is, I call it Maha Yoga, is the yoga of, there's the 6 branches, if you want to know, is the yoga of devotion, bhakti yoga. Right? There is the yoga of Raja yoga, the yoga of meditation. There is the yoga of jnana yoga, the intellectual yoga of self-inquiry, of refining your intellect. Right? There's also the yoga of karma yoga, the yoga of action, selfless action. There's mantra yoga, the yoga of vibration. There's laya yoga, the yoga of absorption, and there's hatha yoga, right? So there's many, many branches of yoga. So we shouldn't just call the practice of the physical practice and understand that as the totality of yoga. This is very wrong. And this is one of the reasons I believe it is very underestimated. And we still haven't seen the full potential of yoga unfold because, the yoga of the masters, I call it the Maha Yoga, the great yoga. This is a completely different level of yoga. And luckily, we have amazing sages, teachers, realized enlightened beings walking this planet, initiating people into Maha Yoga, the yoga of self-realization. And I truly pray that we go beyond the, understanding yoga as the physical and embrace, yoga with a capital Y, and see that really yoga is not separate from life, and it's really about an approach to life, an attitude to life, and the way we react to the events of life. This is where we get to practice our yoga, and this is the subtler dimension of yoga, right? How we understand, how we frame the events of life yogically so that it serves our growth. And this is the deeper dimension of yoga. And so, my book, The Yoga of Personal Development, is all about that dimension because I have such a desire for us to go beyond calling, just the physical practice yoga. We need to go beyond just the mat yoga to really raise consciousness on this planet.
Thank you so much, Mariko. Let's go with the next question. How many times a week should I do yoga and why?
Why? Okay, so it really depends. If you want to just maintain a certain level, like where you are, and maintain your flexibility, I would say 3 times is a good maintenance dose. Twice or 3 times, yeah. But if you want to improve, if you want to progress deeper in your hatha yoga physical practice, because it's a great place to really learn skill too, physical. I don't want to be perceived as saying, physical yoga is superficial. This is not what I'm saying at all. Hatha yoga is a wonderful entry point into the deeper yoga. And so if you want to go deeper, and if you want to get more flexible, if you want to get stronger, and also go deeper into yoga, I highly recommend 4 times or more, which is, I know it's challenging, but it's just the rewards that yoga gives you. It's really, I think, the most productive hours spent because you're addressing not just your physical well-being on so many levels. You take care of all the systems because the practice of hatha yoga is also not man-made. It comes from the awakened kundalini energy, which is the most core energy in the human body. And this is the super intelligence in the body. And when you practice the hatha yoga practices, it naturally balances your neurochemistry. It balances your sympathetic nervous system, your parasympathetic nervous system, the right hemisphere, the left hemisphere, the higher brain, the lower brain. It really truly integrates your nervous system, and so it creates a very deep state of focus that is in a relaxed state. So this is a really rare state, right? Usually when we're focused, we are tense. When we are relaxed, we're not focused. But yoga gives you access to that most resourceful state where you are relaxed and alert, relaxed and focused. And this is one of the greatest gifts of yoga. So if you practice 4 times a week, you're going to make progress. And it's not just going to give you that physical gift, but it's also going to help you become very, efficient at whatever you do in life, in your office, in as an artist, as whatever, if it's your scientist or an artist, it makes you a better artist, makes you a better scientist because you have that integration of the right and left hemispheres, and it makes you a better visionary.
Thank you so much, Mariko. Next question, it says, I can't calm my mind. Is yoga going to help me do that?
Absolutely, yes. Um, the definition of yoga, this is the most classic ancient definition of yoga, is the cessation of the thought waves is known as yoga. This is one of the most, in the very second sutra of Yoga Sutras, which is one of the Bibles of yoga, I should say. The sage Patanjali very succinctly defines yoga as yoga, yogas chitta vritti nirodha. This is the Sanskrit saying. Yoga is the cessation of the thought waves. Yoga is the dissolution of thought waves. So if you feel like you're trapped in your never stopping mind, yoga is going to help you because it puts you in your body. And you see, the mind is the only thing that has a very difficult time being present. The body is in the present, the breath is in the present, the nervous system is in the present, the senses are in the present, but the mind is likes to oscillate between the past and the future. Oh, what happened in the past, just mulling over that, and what's going to happen in the future, getting anxious about that, right? So this is the monkey mind. And so in restraining the monkey mind, hatha yoga practice is supreme because it will regulate your breath, which will regulate your nervous system, and it's going to take you off of that sympathetic fight and flight mode of this jacked up nervous system. Is going to create that deep calm of the parasympathetic nervous system, and it's going to slow down your breathing, which will slow down your thoughts, and it's going to increase the gap between thought and thought by increasing the gap between breath and breath. It's very simple, but breath and the mind are the opposite coins, opposite sides of the same coin, right? So when you control the breath, you control your mind. And it's a lot easier to control your breath than it is to control your mind. So if you have, if you've tried meditation and it's like you go crazy, do at least, 20 to 40 minutes of yoga, hatha yoga on the mat. Do a slow, deep grounding kind of, holding each posture a long time. And that will really do wonders for your mind, increasing the silence in your mind. We really, really need more silence in our society because it's in silence where we get our cells get the rest they need to get rebuilt and rejuvenated. It's in silence where creative insights happen. It's in silence that ahas happen. And so in silence, the integration happens and reflection happens and the deepening of our inner self happens. So in our society, it seems like we want to just obliterate the silence, and we need to actually, consciously increase and deepen our silence. And yoga is that divine gift to help us do this. So thank you for your question.
Thank you. That was a very good answer. Um, the next question says, where can people go to experience yoga if they cannot pay for it? Or
Mhm.
what can people do to experience yoga if they cannot pay for it?
Okay, wonderful question. Again, I would direct you to my course. It's 5 days of, just, and I also have some YouTube videos, but yeah, YouTube is, a great place, although you have to pick and choose, but there's so much on YouTube now. But, if you want kind of a themed, kind of a step-by-step course, then the visionaryyogachallenge.com. It is a free course that I offer to people exactly for that reason, because I recognize if you have internet connection, you'll be able to access that course, visionaryyogachallenge.com, and it will take you through 5 days. I believe the sessions are between 12 and about 30 minutes long. So, and you'll get a good variety, learning the vocabulary of yoga in a beginner-friendly fashion. So I guess, the videos are a wonderful tutorial. And these days, truly, yoga is, is everywhere. So learn, looking at the videos and trying to follow the instructions closely. And maybe, and I encourage you to also expand your abundance consciousness, and look at where you are stopping the flow of abundance into your life. And often this is another great gift of yoga that's not often talked about, but sometimes it is our mind that is creating this limiting thought of I can't afford it, I can't afford it. And in fact, we may be wasting some funds in some places that can actually be channeled for so you never know where you can unlock the money. And it's also just unblocking the flow to abundance. Just do every morning, just open your arms and just put your feet on the ground right after you get up from your bed, and just affirm, I am so grateful. Practice this gratitude affirmation. And oftentimes we have to override this negative conditioning from the past of scarcity, survivalist thinking. And so little by little transforming that into thinking from a place of abundance. I know this is we need a whole course on this, transforming the scarcity mindset, but it is also possible to open up your energy field, and perhaps you're blocking the flow of abundance to you. So you can get started for free with yoga, and maybe after your yoga practice, do some abundance affirmations, and make it a constant practice. It will. I'm sure that your financial situation will change.
Thank you so much. That's definitely, great hopes. Let's see. The next one says, does Ayurveda consider the fact that most of the fields today are depleted of nutrients?
Most of the fields.
Exactly. Most of the fields out there are depleted of nutrients.
Oh,
Like,
the earth. Um, yes, unfortunately, we are living in times of the food quality is not the same as it was in the old days. There's a lot of genetic engineering going on, and the soil is not as nutrient rich as before. So whenever it's possible, it's great to get the organic foods. Again, not everybody can afford organic food, but it is, we do have to. This is why also when you eat food, just have a moment, make eating a sacred ritual, and take a moment to just connect with your food energetically, and of course giving thanks, and just read the energy of your food. And many people, people who are sensitive to energy, hold their hands over their food, and just kind of, this is a way of attuning and equalizing their energy with the food before they consume it. And it often also negates a lot of the toxins that are in the food. And it's also very important to chew your food. A lot of us were just wolfing down the food and then dousing it with a cold soda or something, and we're hampering our digestive fire. And so we, whatever the food contains, we want to be able to extract the maximum nutrient from that. So we need to chew the food and really until it's a paste, and sip lukewarm or hot water with your meals, which will help you raise your basal metabolic rate and unlock a lot of the enzymes that will help you get the most out of your food. So, we cannot always choose. Many of us live in places where we cannot get organic foods. If you can, of course, go for the organic food that is of higher nutrient quality. And but whatever, from whatever you have available to you, let's honor the food and honor the act of eating as a sacred act. And giving thanks, chewing the food, sipping hot water with your meals. And Ayurveda teaches us to read the qualitative energy of our food. So, if you are a Vata person, ask yourself, is this food going to ground me and nourish me? If you're a Pitta person, ask yourself, is this food going to, soothe and calm and ground me, calm and cool my system down? Is it alkaline or is it too acidic? If you're a Kapha person, is this food going to give me energy and not weight me down, not congest my system. So these are, some of the ways you can look at your food and just kind of read the energetics of the food. When you get really adept at understanding the gunas, there are 10 pairs of gunas, and I don't have time to go into all of it, but is the food light? Is the food heavy? Is the food warm in potency, cool in potency? These are things you begin to really sensitize to as you begin to really look at your food from the Ayurvedic lens.
Thank you so much for that answer, Mariko. Next question. How can Ayurveda help me have a better sex life?
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. So, well, it's in that tradition was the book Kama Sutra was written, and actually, sex is definitely it is one of the pillars of life, and Ayurveda does recommend, sexual energy is the most, it taps into the deepest reservoir of human tissue, and that is Shukra Dhatu. There's 7 layers of tissues in the human body. And just briefly, we go from the plasma, which is called rasa, to rakta, which is the blood, the formed elements of the blood, RBCs and WBCs, and then we have the muscle, Mansa Dhatu, and then from the muscles we have the fat layer, the adipose tissues. Each tissue layer has its function, and we have the bone tissue, we have the marrow tissue, which includes the brain in Ayurvedic medicine, and the deepest layer is the sexual fluid, the Shukra Dhatu. And so when we indulge in sex too many times, then we deplete that Shukra Dhatu, and actually it starts to drain your entire body's energy. So there are certain foods that really feed the Shukra Dhatu, and also what we call in Ayurveda ojas. Ojas is very closely related to the deepest layer of physiology in the human body, and it is really a unique thing in Ayurveda. Ojas is that which gives your skin luster. Ojas is related deeply to immunity. Autoimmune disorders are said to be depletion, related to depletion of ojas. So it's really important to protect that deepest layer, deepest tissue layer of your body. And foods like, warm organic milk. If you're not dairy intolerant, adding a little date sugar to that, mixing it with raw almonds. If you soak almonds overnight and remove the skin, and you blend maybe about 10 almonds and that milk, and adding a little honey, this makes a very tonic. And you can also put a pinch of cardamom, pinch of cinnamon. This is a very delicious drink, and this is a very ojas fortifying drink. And you can have this, right after or before sex, and it really helps to augment that layer of the tissue. And there are, certain Ayurveda does recommend, that it depends again. Each Ayurvedic type, Vata people have less sexual libido and stamina than Pitta or Kapha people. So it's like Vata the least, the Pitta the second, and Kapha people have the most stamina in that department, as well as in other athletic departments. And so, if you're a Vata person, you really should, be careful of overindulging in sex, and just, you have to practice a little bit of abstinence certain times of the, maybe once a week, and maybe twice a month, like that, and just preserve your ojas at that level, and work on getting nourishing foods. What else is important for good sex life is, of course, the hatha yoga asanas are also very helpful in getting that agility. And I think that, Ayurveda is beyond just the health part of it, the physiology of it. It's also science of relationships. And so, sex without love is truly, empty. So taking the time to really connect on not just on the sexual level, but also on all the chakra levels, with your partner is going to make for a lot better sex, because it's when you have the orgasm, it has to go through all the chakras, right? If it's just in the lower chakras, it is very just like a sensation, and it's not going to give you that opening expansion that it's really meant to give you. So the yogis knew this. I mean, that's whole the tantra yoga was all about that. But so don't make sex just about sex. Really let it be a true union, and connect with the other human being as a human being. And that's really the highest form that of sex, and you will have an amazing sex too. So I mean to talk about it so long, but those are the things that Ayurveda does say about this aspect of life. It is a pillar of life, so I'm really glad you asked that.
Yeah, me too. I'm really glad they asked that. Glad they asked that, and glad that you had such a nice answer. Definitely a topic that is worth exploring enough, with more time. Our next question states, I saw on social media that you were recently in Cuba.
Yes.
How can people get the right food in countries with limited access to the whole foods?
Great question. Yes. Ayurveda is it's also about it talks about dish, which means the land, the country. And so there is a form of Ayurveda you can practice with what's available in every country. Of course, we're very lucky in the United States. I don't know if you're living in the United States, but here we have such abundance and access to all kinds of variety of foods. But in many other countries, it is not. But each country also has their traditional cuisine, which is, interestingly enough, most of the traditional cuisine is inherently balanced, because the tradition comes from time tested recipes and handed down wisdom. And so I think that we don't have to have access to every kind of food. Actually, Ayurveda talks about you should eat seasonal foods and local food. So I think that in Cuba, there's definitely agriculture, and if you eat local food grown seasonally, then you are practicing Ayurveda. So it doesn't mean that you have to have access to a huge variety of food. You can still, within what you have available, understand your constitution, and then from that knowledge, choose the right foods from what's available. This is Ayurveda. So, in every country, it is possible to apply this knowledge.
Thank you so much. Definitely useful. That was
Yeah.
a beautiful answer. Thank you. We are reaching the end of our Q&A. There is two more questions.
Okay.
One, and I love what I'm hearing, Mariko. I
Okay.
want to be like you. How can I accomplish that?
Oh gosh. Well, I'm very flattered and I'm honored. And who is this person, by the way? Is it possible to say the name? I believe though that that's very, very, very kind. But I do definitely believe that the eye of the beholder is, you see the self in me, therefore you see some light, and it's because you carry the light inside you, you see the light inside me. And so I would say that the reason, don't try to be like me, but try to unfold your light, because you definitely have an amazing spark of the divine. And it is the highest yoga, the and the whole purpose of our birth on this planet is to truly realize. And part of that realization is to love ourselves, accept ourselves, and through that acceptance, dive deeper. So I thank you so much for your kindness, and I want to almost give you a big embrace. But I would say the word guru. It is amazing because it has the whole secret of self realization in it. The letters of the words guru are G, you are you, right? Ji, you are you. And so that means the guru resides within you as you, and the whole journey of life is from the small self to the universal, self. And that's the whole journey that each and every one of us have to make. But if you're trying to become like somebody else, as much as my ego likes that, to hear that, it's not the way, right? It is really in recognizing that your unique genius, which you definitely have, and taking the time to discover it, go on an adventure of self-discovery and fall in love with yourself, fall in love with that spark of the divine, the guru that lives within you. Another, meaning of the word guru is gu for darkness, ru for light, guru. And so, remover of darkness, the veil that makes us see that other people is better than me, or that we tend to compare ourselves. That veil, when we remove it, you're able to see. You see that light in me because you carry that light in yourself, and this is the true vision. And so I want to thank you, but I want to return you to your own light, because you definitely have a unique gift and a unique genius. It's your job to unfold it.
Thank you so much. And the last question says, I am wondering how to connect to nature and happy life.
Mm.
What would you recommend?
Connect to nature and happy life. Yeah, it's a very beautiful question. Um, well, we are also nature incarnate. We forget this, right? We carry nature within us. Actually, when we do the yogic breathing practice, we hear the sound of the ocean inside of our own breath. And this is one way you can connect to nature and to happiness, both. And of course, going to a gorgeous place where, visually you can connect with nature is wonderful. If you have that available to you, by all means, go to a beautiful natural setting. Sometimes, if you cannot do that, if you have to work in an office, or, if you live in an urban area and you're longing for that nature connection, um, you know, put on some ocean, maybe background noise, and use that ambient sound to meditate on your breath, and just inhaling slow and deep into the third eye, and then exhaling slow and long out through the nose, and just focusing on this point between your brows, and using the mantra. I will give you this very ancient mantra that's been passed down from the sages: Om Namah Shivaya. This is 5-syllable mantra. Om, we don't count, but Om Namah Shivaya. As you meditate, this is the deepest meditation that will connect you with yourself. And the meaning of that mantra is, I bow to the higher self. I bow to the self that dwells within me. And so, and this is one way you connect with your deepest nature, your highest nature, and which is your happiness. So I hope this will help you.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And as we reach the end of this Mindalia live streaming, we want to thank you for sharing so much knowledge with us and with our audience. Before saying goodbye, there is just one more thing, and one more time. We want to remind you that Mindalia TV is a non governmental, non-profit organization, and our only mission is to just share knowledge, to share consciousness around the world. Leave us a positive comment down below. Share this video with someone you love that you know that can benefit from what we shared today. And just subscribe to our channel. That is the way that you can use to help us reach more people. And before leaving, we want Mariko to say goodbye to our audience.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for all the questions. I hope they were helpful, and thank you so much for having me, Myrna, and Angel also. And truly, you have a beautiful mission, and I wish you the very, very best.
Thank you. Thank you one more time. And to our audience, thank you. And until next time.